And welcome back to episode 191 of the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
And me, Karl.
Oh, Carl, I think I've got a dose of the conference lurgy.
Serves you right for jet setting.
I wasn't a million miles away, but I've had that, I got back, I woke up a couple of days afterwards with the old sore throat,
Oh, God, yeah.
voices going, all that conference, definitely conference lurgy. Shaking too many hands.
Schmoozing, I think the word is.
I don't know what I was going to say there, for honest with you. No, it was good. Do you know what's great to get out? It's always good to get out and about and meet with, partners and clients and stuff, just face to face,
Yep.
We live in a world where Zoom and Teams and what else, services are great, but just there is something in there about sitting down, whether it's having a beer or coffee,
Yep.
with real people. It is good.
Yeah.
Definitely
I spend my life on Zoom.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It is definitely too easy. I mean, look, I think wrong. I'm not complaining. Working from home is great, and I tell you, I don't know about you, but have you seen the amount of job adverts these days that appear to be returned to office? And when you look at them, it's like, we're a primarily office-based company.
Yep.
Basically, unless you're dying, we expect you in the office. It's like
That's it. Yeah, and it's in central London, and we're only going to pay you pittance, but you'll then spend another £10,000 a year on train allowance. No.
It does seem
Just
that we
no.
had. It does seem we got to COVID, wasn't it? And like, well, this works. Yeah, it works really well. But now it's like, 2 years later, it's like, that experiment's dead. Back to the office.
yeah, exactly. You may be more productive at home, but we want to see what you're doing.
Yeah, and this huge lease that we took out on this building needs to be paid.
Yeah, we're paying for an empty building.
Well, what a week it has been. It's been a little bit quiet in some of the tech news. I don't know about you. Have you noticed the tech stocks seem to be up and down as well?
They are all over the place at the moment.
Absolutely. We had the post-Trump rise, didn't we, where everything kind of leapt up the sheet, and then it kind of has plunged back down. And Nvidia have lost the top spot again to Apple. Apple have regained
have
the
they?
top spot. They have indeed. But I mean, currently, as we record this, the US stock market has not opened yet, and of course, it is also Thanksgiving in the US as recorded. So, actually, before we go any further, of course, for those of our American friends and listeners, we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your turkey, and what else should we eat on those? Pumpkin pie? Is that pretty?
I have no idea.
Is that too stereotypical?
Maybe.
But yeah, Nvidia have lost the top spot. I did read a thing the other day. I must say, I meant to say to you about this. That, there were some rumors floating around on some of the sort of money sites, saying that there was trouble brewing at Nvidia.
Ooh.
As apparently some of the issues around the new Blackwell chips. Yeah, apparently there are issues around overheating. That certain manufacturers are pulling back. Certain vendors are pulling back now after spending loads of money on data centers. That may carry on, but of course they're starting to look at the bigger picture of the cost of those data centers.
It's just all this AI stuff that hasn't really made any money yet.
Well, no, and also the looming tariff situation as well. With the US. It isn't there yet, but everybody's preparing for those tariffs to come in. Yeah. And of course, talking of news, did you see? Was it yesterday that Australia have passed that law?
Yes, about social media, wasn't it? No social media for under 16s, was it?
Yeah. How are they? How are you going to police that? I can't work it out.
I don't know. I mean, look, I think I'm all in agreement. I think under 16s are probably too immature. A lot of over 16s are too immature to be on social media. But I think that's a good age before we start introducing them to them. But yeah, how do we actually implement that and enforce it? I don't know on that one.
No, it is a bit of a tough one, and I think and I think you're right. I kind of get the whole idea of it. Old Elon Musk doesn't agree, though, does he? He thinks it's a backdoor to more legislation.
He thinks you should come out the womb with a Twitter handle, X handle, or whatever it is.
It wouldn't be X handle.
X handle, yeah, that's it.
Oh, excuse me. I'm struggling to breathe and talk at the same time. It's very difficult. And talking of news, one other thing, and I appreciate we didn't script any of this, so it was a couple of things I scribbled down. Did you see that those cables that got broken in the Baltic Sea
Oh,
with fiber
yes,
optic
yes.
cables? Now it's under more investigation, and Sweden has asked China to cooperate on trying to find out what has happened there.
Do you think they will, though?
Well, the ship that did it
It's a
turned
Chinese
off
ship,
its
isn't it?
Chinese ship, came out of a Russian port, turned off its AIS, which is the
Yeah, it's
tracking system
transponder,
for ship,
basically. Yep.
dropped its anchor over the air of the cables,
Yeah.
and basically dragged with its anchor.
Yeah. So there was no accident. It was blatant sabotage. But yeah. I mean, they haven't really said, are the crew on board Chinese?
Yeah, it's a Chinese ship. It is a
It was
Chinese
Chinese ship, but obviously they've come out of a Russian port. I didn't know whether maybe it was a Russian team on board and not a Chinese team.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Currently, the ship, I believe, is in international waters at the moment, off the coast of Denmark. I think was the last time I read. But yeah, pretty dodgy.
Right. Yeah.
Apparently, according to, I think it was the Wall Street Journal who did an investigation, it dragged its anchor for 100 miles.
Blimey, that's put some stress on those engines, I imagine.
Yeah, also think of the damage to the
seabed.
The seabed, yeah, as well, and the natural environment. Absolutely nuts.
It is. It is. I wonder how long it will take them to repair those cables, though.
I don't know. I was thinking we should definitely pick up this in the next
Yeah.
podcast or two. It'd be good to have a little bit more talk about that. But anyway, well, now we've caught up on all of the I guess bits and stories for the week. Let's look at what we've got down on the docket this week. So we're going to talk Google. We're going to talk Apple eBooks. For once, this is not what you think it is. We're going to talk Sony. We're going to talk about digital U. Is that what's the word? I think it's called digital twin. That's the right word?
Digital twin, yeah.
Digital twin who can do your job or mine. Well, we'll see about that. And then TechRant Rumour Mill has got a little update on CarPlay and something we talked about back in post WWDC when the latest CarPlay update.
Yeah,
but
last year,
last year,
was it the year before that?
It was the year before. Yeah, I think it was at least 12 months ago. So yeah,
yeah.
But let's pick up then with the first story of the week, which is one we talked a little bit about last week, which is this new US Department of Justice ruling that is looking to force, well, at the moment it appears it's going to happen. Google must sell off Chrome to break the monopoly it has on the search market.
Yeah, so this has started with, was it Judge Amit Mehta? So basically, he's found Google have maintained an illegal monopoly in search and search text advertising. Obviously, it's been bought by the Department of Justice. So now nothing's final on what recourse they're actually going to take. But obviously, the Department of Justice has put forward an idea of what they want to see, kind of remedies. Yeah, one of those is obviously selling off Chrome, its web browser. I had some other ones as well. So prohibit Google from financially incentivizing third parties. So they pay Apple for default search, don't they? Engine.
Yes.
The same they do with Mozilla, and quite a lot of other phone manufacturers have got Google as a default because they've been paid to do it. So the DOJ wants to ban them from doing that as well, which I think we will talk about a bit more in a minute. It wants to ban Google from prioritizing its search engine on its own platforms such as YouTube.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but
it is. It wants to require access to its search index for competitors at minimal cost. So use the Google search engine without using the Google. Okay, but also mandate to syndicate its search results and query data for a period of 10 years to encourage fair competition. Oh, and allow websites to opt out of Google's AI summaries without facing penalties in search rankings.
See, to take a step back there about the whole indexing, when Google came along, the search engines that were out there were Yahoo, Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves, etc. To name but just a few of the popular search engines were. Google came along and did something revolutionary, didn't they? In the way that they crawled the web, the way that they created that index, and effectively, the whole SEO or search engine optimization that we see today, that transformation of that particular market was changed massively by Google, wasn't it? And the way that people built sites and put in those optimizations to get you to the top of the list. And let's be honest, right? If anybody said to you today, I need to search something, you could almost say Google it. It's become part of
It
the
has.
vocabulary, hasn't it?
But I think one of the compelling reasons people switched on Google, not just because it may or may not have been a better search result, was how clean the site was. It was a single
Yes.
text box. Yeah, there was no advertisements anywhere. You just got nice, clean results. Obviously, Google is nothing like that anymore, is it? It's
No,
basically
but
what
back
it was
then-
trying to solve. It was trying to get away from Yahoo and Alta Vista, covered in ads. Now it's basically become it.
Yeah, and if you look back how it was, you're right, it was very clean. And if you think about back then, Yahoo and Alta Vista, they wanted to be everything. They were almost like a
Like AOL, weren't they? They were like portals, walled garden kind of things where they want you to
yeah,
keep you on
yeah.
the
Oh
site.
god, I mean AOL was a absolute wall golden, wasn't it? And then the old AOL discs, and you put it in, and you
Yeah,
connect it to
I had AOL. I did.
what was it? CompuServe was the other one, wasn't it?
CompuServe.
And if you look at Yahoo and those guys, they were doing all kinds of stuff. They had news, didn't they? They had email, they had messaging, the chat rooms, and all that jazz. Yeah, and Google did search, and it did quick search.
Did
and it was good.
just very clean, straight to the point. But they become what they were trying to fix now. So, but yeah, I mean, look. So this isn't finalised. It's not going to be till, is it March next year?
No.
They'll have revised proposals in March. So obviously, then it'll have to go to what do they call it? A remedies trial is scheduled for April. So
yeah, so I mean, and this is as you say from the judge. This is a a broader set of things that are happening. And one of the alternative options, and we mentioned this last week as well, that if this doesn't work, the other alternative is the DOJ saying that they should sell Android, isn't it? And
well, they might still do, yeah. If they implement this and they sell off Chrome and Google still being that, I suppose, predatory and monopoly kind of characteristics there, then yeah, they might force them to sell off Android as well.
Which is just mind-boggling. Really
it
is.
But it just goes to show, I saw another article early in the week. I just made a quick note of it that Google have their own app, though. They like the Google app for iOS, okay, and you can use that to access all the Google services, right? So now in that app, they've introduced what they call page annotations. So basically, if someone's using the app and they browse to say your blog, Jay, Google will automatically replace some text with links to advertised products.
Wow.
You have no say over this. They'll just do that. And this is an opt-out, not an opt-in.
Wow, I genuinely did not know that. Every day's a school day.
Yeah, called page annotations. I saw that and I was like, and this is why the DOJ is trying to break you up.
Yeah, that's
because you did a blanket opt everyone in the entire world into this rather than opt website operators out.
Yeah, the bit that they mentioned about saying that they'd take the Yahoo search out of its other products like YouTube, and I think Gemini was mentioned.
Google
well,
search, yeah.
It's like, hang on a minute, that's ridiculous because that whole AI piece is built off the back of the Google back end. It's like, so what are you going to do here? It's a bit
that's a bit of an odd one within your own products. But is that any different to what the DMA is trying to do to Apple in EMEA?
Well, you might as well ask Apple. So you might as well ask Microsoft then to stop Copilot inside Edge, because if you go to Edge, you've got Copilot built in. You might as well ask Edge to stop.
I'm sure that's coming up next.
It must be.
It must be. But yeah, I mean that would be quite a big one, wouldn't it? So if they have to sell off Chrome and sell off Chrome, and they have to stop paying for default search, that's not going to affect Apple.
No, it's going to affect Mozilla.
It's going to hit
more likely
Firefox, massive. Mozilla with Firefox, massively. And we'll be down to just basically Chrome or Safari.
And is it? And Apple. Well, they were paying Apple as well, weren't they?
Yeah, they still are paying Apple.
But Apple,
18 or 19 billion or something a year, isn't it? Or maybe more now.
Yeah, but I think Apple could live without that.
Yeah, Apple will be fine. Yeah, it will have detrimental effects to Mozilla and Firefox. I'm a mixed taste. I'm a Firefox user. I've been using it for probably 20 years. As long as it's been around, I love it. I would hate to see it disappear, because I really don't want to move to Chrome. But Chrome may be a better place if Google had to sell it, and maybe it went open source. Though Google aren't going to sell it to open source, are they? They're not going to gift it to the community. No. They're going to try and sell it, and who's going to buy it? Apple, Microsoft. are we going to be in this kind of same position again? Or maybe Oracle will sweep in and buy it, and then we're all doomed.
I was just thinking that.
It's going to be Oracle, isn't it?
I was just like looking at that and thinking, oh dear. Like,
Yeah, I would love it for it to be fully gifted to the open source community,
Yeah,
and let it be a true open source browser for the masses kind of thing. But Google will never do that.
Well, almost like having the Chromium project take it back in, sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah. And that becomes the default Chrome. Yeah, obviously Edge uses it and they add their stuff, and that's the beauty of open source.
But they'll continue to license that. I mean, Microsoft are not going to move away from Edge now in the Chromium backend. It works much better. It allows them to have a much better user experience. The whole extensions pieces. Yeah, they're not and after the whole of the Internet Explorer debacle, they're never going to go back to that.
No, but I'd just like to see some actual competition. Because the way Google's been driving Chrome is to start to cut off all the ad blockers and all that kind of stuff so that you can still see the Google ads, which is going to make a worse web experience.
It is, I have to say. I mean, the kind of side piece to that, though, is the Android piece. If they spin out Android, that, I think, would be a detrimental blow to Google. Because they lose control of that element of the mobile sector. How would Android make money? I'm assuming it's going to be licensing only. Would have to be, wouldn't it?
It'd have to be. But then, if they have to spin it out, is it going to become its own company? Is it going to be bought by Oracle? It could be horrific here.
You're just like, you're killing everything off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, did you see the other day that Huawei have released their own non-Android operating system now? So Harmony OS is now completely free of Android open source. Allegedly.
It's taken them a long time though to get to that stage, and they've had they're talking. Weren't they talking about getting to 200,000 apps or something? I think I read somewhere around that.
Yeah.
In terms of, but I saw also somebody joke about that, saying that Windows Mobile had 300,000 apps. They still killed it off. I was like, touche, very good.
Yeah. We'll see. But then what can Huawei do in China?
Well, it's a very large market, my friend.
Yeah, so they could be quite happy just by themselves in China and still make plenty enough money to survive.
Yeah, and I think that's a large possibility. And given every other market apart from the Western market, they have a large base of customers that they can leverage on that. That being said, this, as you say, this particular case is due to be heard. I think, isn't it? It's coming Monday. Well, I think there's a closing argument coming up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or I think. Oh no, it might be
we've already been found guilty of it.
Sorry. I missed. Sorry, the closing arguments with the Monday just gone, as you say. Yes. So we've got the actual outcome of this will be next year. So this is very much in progress. Things will change. Google will not back down at all. We know for this.
No. And this may all change because we've got Trump starting in January, haven't we?
Yes, and I think they're going to probably want to. They're going to probably want to see what happens with that particular part of the government. And I don't know. Playing devil's advocate, could they try and play the argument to the Trump administration, saying that if you sell us off, the Chinese might
we might have to sell to the Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. Which I know is shouldn't be a terrible threat, but it might be to them.
It'll play right up Trump Street, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have to see what happens there, and we will obviously keep you abreast of any changes in this story, and of course when the ruling, whatever that might be, happens next year.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, Apple again and antitrust. But this is an old case. So this is back from 2020, wasn't it? So where an unnamed party which may or may not have been Amazon filed an antitrust complaint against Apple, basically alleging breaching the EU competitive law as it was at that time, and forcing ebooks to be sold only through in-app purchase and not allowing developers to point users to other places they could buy it from, etc., etc. And Apple wants to take the 5% cut. So good news, odd news. The European Union have kind of closed that antitrust investigation to Apple now without reaching a definitive conclusion. I suspect this is because they just rolled this into the DMA instead.
Yeah, I know. I read this. I was also thinking to myself, the Apple ebook store is not the place I think of when I think of ebooks. You know,
Be honest, until I read this, I forgot they had an ebook store.
I know. I do it every time.
Yeah, you just go to the person that filed the complaint.
I do like it. I do like it. It was basically saying that was it the following the withdrawal of the complaint filed against Apple by an ebook and audiobook distributor. Who might that be?
Yes.
The Commission has decided to close the antitrust investigation concerning specifically ebook audiobook apps. Right. Let's take a small step back just a second here on this point.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was Amazon. It may not have been Amazon,
but it was
but
Amazon.
let's just say it was Amazon. If it looks like a duck, it sounds like a duck. It
walks like a duck. It's a duck.
It walks like a duck. It's likely an elephant.
Yeah.
If anybody could breach antitrust investigations antitrust over ebook and audio,
monopoly in ebook and audiobooks,
it is Amazon.
It's Amazon. Hook, line, and sinker on that one.
I've got my lovely Kindle ebooks. I'd like to read them in another app. Not going to happen unless you convert them.
No. And break simply the DMCA, isn't it? Because they've got quite a lot of them have DRM on them.
Yeah, but it should be. You'd argue the fact of okay, I've just gone to the bookstore. I picked up my copy of Karl's latest bestseller.
Yeah,
I've taken it home. The hardback. I'm now going to take that somewhere else and give it to somebody else, and they can read it. Well, sorry, you can't do that. No. But with an ebook or whatever, it is obviously far greater, because I appreciate they don't want people necessarily copying them and open sourcing them. But the answer is, if I bought that, I should be able to use it on another device without too much complication, as long as it respects the argument. Now, I hear people going, well, you can do that. Yeah, but you can't simply. I can't get my Kindle here, plug it into my Mac, my PC, and go, right, drag all the books off it and drop them into, I don't know.
I had a lot of. I am no longer a Kindle owner. I have. I forgot what it was, Barnes & Noble Libra.
The Libra. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Libra 2, whatever it is, one of those. And I thought, right, okay, but I used to have a Kindle. I brought a load of books. I thought, well, that's fine. I'll just own them. I'll copy those over. No, I had to hit the dark seas there. To get usable copies of stuff I've already bought.
It's crazy, and if you also look at it from Audible, we use Audible.
That's the biggest con ever.
And I keep saying I'm going to cancel the blooming thing, but my wife likes it for the audiobooks for the kids. If we go on car journeys,
in the same situation there,
right? So she likes it because if we go for a car journey, it's over an hour. She likes to put it on. Yeah. And there are several kids stories authors the kids really like, so they put it on. But so I get a credit a month, and it's like I need to cancel that rubbish. But and then I'm end up buying it. But again, there isn't it's not, and I know again people will be shouting at me going, yeah, you can. But the truth is, you can't just simply go, right, I'll drag those audiobooks off and I'll dump them in another app or another service. Again, it's not that simple, is it?
No, it's not. Right.
So really, the ebook and audiobook distributor that's mentioned here needs to have a good look at itself before I think opening, or making complaints.
Good hard look at yourself.
Look, we all agree that Apple isn't perfect. I'm not going to stress it here and say to you, they do is perfect. But on this element, another particularly large company with a market cap of over, I think, $2 trillion themselves. If I at last look, let me have a quick look now. $2.1 trillion. So not short of a few change.
Pot kettle black springs to mind.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. But I mean, the commission states that they're not saying Apple didn't breach competition law, but they basically aren't pursuing it, are they? So...
No. But I think this is probably all covered under the DMA, and the fact that Apple has to allow third-party in-app purchases in third-party app stores now has kind of got this covered.
Yeah, but it's just a joke, isn't it? It just is a joke at times.
It is. Right. Who of our listeners remembers the PSP or the Vita?
Oh, the Vita.
Oh, I didn't have a Vita. I've still got a PSP floating around in the back cupboard somewhere.
I had a PSP for a little while. I never did have a Vita, but I remember the Vita because Vita kind of just it's one of those things that didn't really take off, did it? I don't think to the same degree
No,
as
it was
PSP.
a lot better than the PSP from what I heard, but it just didn't grab them up. Though I don't think the PSP did that well, mass console wise.
No, did the PSP remind me? Did it have the one where it had like the little discs sitting
The
there, like the
little,
mini
they were like
discs?
mini discs, but smaller.
Yeah. Okay, thank
Whereas the
you.
Vita was proprietary Sony memory cards.
That's right. Do you know? I just had one of those. You know, when you think about something, I'm like, is that really what I was thinking about?
It
But
was,
yeah, it
yeah,
was.
very much like a
Yeah,
mini disc. I think it was pretty much the same technology, just shrunk down a bit more.
that's right.
But yeah, so Sony are bringing out a new handheld console apparently. I mean,
That was a
they did,
success.
yeah, they did bring out the PlayStation Portal, wasn't it, last year, which is like an 8-inch screen with controller attached to it for streaming your PlayStation 5 games within the on your Wi-Fi. It's kind of a secondary screen, but no, they're looking to basically build on that and allow you to actually play real PlayStation 5 games on the go.
So that PlayStation Portal was quite a good idea, I guess, if you were a big PS5 user, I guess. But maybe the PS5 was in your family room or your living room,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, and you wanted to play those games. I don't know, while somebody else was using the TV or maybe in the bedroom, whatever.
That's
Yeah, I get it.
why I moved into the Xbox ecosystem, because I could load up the Xbox app and just stream from my Xbox to my laptop or a tablet and play my games locally when someone's using the TV.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that ecosystem, great idea, as you say, but it was pretty limited to the fact that you're right. You had to be in the same locale on the same network, didn't you?
Yeah,
And
don't know if it's changed now, but at the beginning, at launch, even though Sony has a game streaming platform, you couldn't game stream to it.
Yes, I think I recall that being the case at the time.
So that may have changed now. I haven't kept up with it, but yeah, it'd be interesting how they're going to get the PlayStation kit shrunk down to fit in a handheld if it's going to play PlayStation 5 games.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and I also wonder Sony's logic with this, because if we look at the console market, handheld console market,
yeah,
Nintendo own this hook, line, and sinker. There is, when you think handheld these days, you think Switch, don't you?
Or Steam Deck.
Well, yeah, but Steam Deck I think is slightly different.
It's more niche.
Steam Deck's niche. Steam Deck is targeting a subset of the PC market consumer, typically PC users who have got games in other, using across. Switch, though, covers a lot of different demographics.
Oh, it does.
A lot of age groups. You and I were just talking earlier. I said, that I was thinking of picking up a second-hand full Switch. Now, my kids have got Switch Lites. They love them. I've got a Switch Lite as well. I don't play as much as I should do. I'm thinking about picking up second-hand first generation Switch full size to go behind the TV, because recently my kids have been playing at friends' houses, at some other family members' houses, where they've got a Switch and they've got 4 Joy-Cons, for sports and all that jazz. And I thought actually they really love that. And yeah, you can say, well, you've got a Series X Xbox. Yeah, I have, but it's not really the same actually. And to be fair, you and I have talked about this before. 4-player split screen games on the Xbox really are hit and miss, aren't they?
They are. Yeah. And not all games do it. Quite often it's online only.
Exactly.
We've got an OG Switch, the one with the Joy-Cons. We usually bring it out for family events and Christmas and stuff like that, and have it plugged into the main TV. And the kids love playing on it.
Exactly. So the only vendor that doesn't have one at the minute then is Microsoft, really, isn't it? If you think about it.
Yeah, Microsoft have said that they are looking into one as well, but also that Microsoft view any screen as a potential Xbox.
Well, yeah, because as you said, we can handheld. I can do it on my iPad. I can do it on the laptop,
the phone, Android, iOS, any web browser, pretty much. So no, Sony are meant to be bringing this out to compete with Microsoft, and obviously Nintendo are bringing out a Switch 2 next year. It's not been confirmed, but reports are saying Switch 2 is next year.
Yes, we had the Switch 1.5, didn't we, come out?
Which was the OLED one, wasn't it?
Yeah, slightly. Yeah, there was. I think the internals were very much the same, weren't they? It wasn't
still the old Nvidia Tegra, isn't it?
Yeah, but it had a better screen and that kind of stuff. I think battery life was slightly improved as well. I believe, not massively, but just marginally. But yeah, you're right. The rumors on the Switch 2 are not concrete, but pretty much a lot of places are reporting the same, aren't they? That this is
how's the Switch now? maybe 10 years old, or
It's got to
can't
be.
be far off that, can it?
Got to be, surely.
Nintendo Switch. So when did that one came out? That came out in 2017. Okay, not quite then. So we are 7 years old, 8
Well,
years old.
but that's still a long. When we talk about video game like console life cycles, 7 years is quite a long time.
And the hardware was not cutting edge at that point either.
No, but this is something that Nintendo really do get right, don't they? Because if you've picked up, what was the Zelda sequel? Not Breath of the Wind.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It looks stunning, even on a 7-year-old console. It looks great.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Mario games, they just pop. The colors just pop, and it isn't fancy 4K hyper DLSS, graphics that multi textures. We're talking Flight Sim or Stalker. Oh, don't get me started on Stalker 2. I know we were going to talk about that, but we need to we need another week or two to talk about the games and on that. But yeah, it looks good. They just look fresh, funky games.
They do. Yeah, I just checked. That Tegra hardware, the X1, is from 2015.
Wow.
So it was old hardware when it went in the Switch.
Well, fair play to Nintendo for getting the life out of it, which they have. So yeah, absolutely impressive. So this then is still only rumored. We don't know when this could come. It may never turn up at all, knowing Sony.
But it's going to be at least a number of years, I imagine, before this arrives.
Yeah, we could be seeing this could be in time for the PlayStation 6, maybe.
Yeah, bring out the 6, and basically put the old 5 hardware shrunk down into in the handheld.
Yeah. Well, there you go then. Interesting times ahead. So let's move on slightly to, again, a bit more future talk, but maybe not so future talk. This, so, like I said, we spend a lot of our time on Zoom, camera on, camera off, depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And, sometimes, I don't know about you, there are a lot of times when you're on that Zoom call and you think to yourself, this could have been an email, couldn't it?
99% of the time, it could have been an email.
So, and sometimes you don't always necessarily need to engage, apart from the polite, thanks so much, everybody, or, that's great. So, I don't know. Would you reckon a bit of AI could help out here?
Oh, a company called Pickle seems to think so, don't they? What a name, Pickle.
Great name.
This is interesting and kind of creepy, I think. So basically, they're developing.
Creepy is a great word, actually. Yeah. That's probably the right way to look.
They're a startup. They're developing a system that allows basically users to create a photorealistic digital avatar for virtual meetings. So, basically, you send them a 5-minute training video. They turn this into this photorealistic AI avatar. The idea being you can use this in like Zoom, Google Meets, Teams. You don't actually have to be in front of the camera now. You can just be in the car, in bed, or a lounge, but naked if you want to. No one's going to see you. And you just do the talking, and the avatar will respond as if it's you. It will be you. It's a bit odd. I mean, I watched the demo video. It's not quite right yet, is it? It's kind of got that uncanny valley kind of feel to it.
Yeah, you're right. You know it. You can't put your finger on it.
Something's wrong, but not what it is.
Yeah, you're right. You can't. You don't want to come straight out and say that's not right. But you're right. At the same time, your brain's going and your eyes are going. Something isn't. Yeah, there's just I can't shake it, but it isn't. Yeah,
it's good though. It does look like it's a real person. It's just the movements that aren't quite right.
I said to you earlier though, this is going to get absolutely abused.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, and while it's a pricey product, if you're using it for criminal gains, it's not that pricey at all.
I was going to say, do you recall earlier in the year when there was that tech firm, which was who came out and said that they had, and kudos to the publishing, by the way, but they came out and said that a North Korean worker, or I'm guessing, remember, it's going to be government because North Korean espionage, tried to infiltrate the company by using AI.
AI avatar, wasn't it? Yeah,
but it's AI avatar. Basically, got through the interviews, background checks, references, and they hired this person.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They sent them a Mac. They sent them everything, and
I'm sure it didn't send to North Korea though. It must have gone via somewhere else.
yeah, it must have been going somewhere else. But apparently they're saying that the minute they got it, this Mac was sent out. Um, the minute they installed it, the software they installed discovered that the InfoSec team, there was malware being installed. The SOC team
Yep.
called the person, they worked with Mandiant to understand what's going on. Then they turned to the FBI, and through the investigation,
Yeah.
it turned out that this person was a North Korean fake IT worker. But
Crazy.
and they, like I said, they use AI generated pictures there. But this kind of thing actually, right, with this technology for Pickle could make this a lot easier. And you're right.
Yeah.
If they can get access to companies like this, the cost of one avatar is going to be nothing compared to what the theoretical gain on that criminal activity could be, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, look, they've got 3 packages: a basic, a standard, a pro. They're basically divvied up by how many hours of real-time generated usage you want. There are some other perks like how many different customized outfits you can have and customized backgrounds. But the main bit is, $30 a month for basic that gets you 15 hours of real-time generation. $60 a month gets you 40 hours, and $120 a month gets you 100 hours.
Yeah. So you're doing that right, and these fake IT workers, in a lot of cases like North Korea, they're not doing it to hack. In some cases, they're doing it for the money.
Yeah.
So
what's $120 a month if you can get you a job somewhere that's earning tens of
that's
$6-7 grand or more, or whatever the job happens to be? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. So they get in, and then the scam is that they're doing the work. They get paid very well compared to the money that they're not getting. They do it as a night shift, and basically those US companies, in theory, are just paying North Korea for their programs. Do
you think I could tie this up with Chat GPT so I don't even have to do the talking?
Well, I'm wondering that now. Actually,
I can just give it a load of some guidelines for the meeting, and then just go down the pub.
Sounds like a pretty solid plan in my book.
I'm in. Let's give it a go.
Absolutely. Let's rock and roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm up for it. Let's
we'll give it a try on our next team meeting.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so look out for this then from Pickle. It is there now. Join meetings with Clone, which just there's part of me that is just thinking this is going to get banned real quick.
Exactly.
But yeah, and unsurprisingly, they are a Silicon Valley startup as well. So no shock there.
Yeah, no shock there. Looking for funding, probably.
It is, but it'll be in the show notes for you to have a look at. So definitely
watch the videos. It is slightly odd.
Yes, it is. So, just one rumor this week then, and it is about CarPlay. So, as we said, you may recall over a year ago, Apple touted the latest version of CarPlay, which was working with automotive manufacturers to move CarPlay just from being that in-car entertainment system to being the almost OS of the car, wasn't it?
It was,
all of the controls, all of the systems, your dashboard, all leveraging the power of CarPlay in one area. But we actually haven't seen any, apart from a couple of manufacturers saying that they were going to go with it.
Yep.
We've not actually seen it come out yet, have we?
No. And it goes back longer than I thought. There's articles about this from 2023.
Wow.
So this is quite an old one. But yeah, we've not seen any more details really. No actual demos of it, have we? Other than the CGI that Apple generate. But apparently it must be getting close. There's been evidence of new assets kind of appearing in what they call the European Union Intellectual Property Office database. This was submitted a couple of weeks ago, apparently, and it's now been approved. And it's actually showing what looks like an Audi specific implementation of this next gen CarPlay.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, but also we've seen things like iOS 18.2, the betas there have new updated CarPlay icons and stuff like that. So something is happening in the CarPlay world.
I was looking forward to this. I mean, I certainly couldn't afford the kind of cars that they were talking about.
What, the Porsche, wasn't it? Porsche and Lotus, yes. I think.
But I'm up for it. I think it looks great. I'd love to have a car that incorporates full CarPlay. I mean, this isn't friendly with all manufacturers. You may recall back at the end of last year, General Motors said that they were going to start phasing out.
They have, haven't they? So you won't be getting it on General Motor cars.
I mean, which is to me the most stupid thing ever. Apparently, according to GM at the time, Tim Babbitt, who was their head of product and infotainment, said that it's an important factor that didn't make it on the fact sheet. He said driver distraction caused by cell phone usage. Taking CarPlay out is not going to fix that.
Not if your
Apparently
interface is terrible.
yeah, they reckon that there were stability issues manifest themselves, bad connections, poor rendering. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not having that. I think I'm safer because I don't touch my phone in the car whatsoever.
Exactly.
I don't have any notifications come up around any of the apps that I'm running. The only notifications that come up on CarPlay is messages, which again are read out. I don't get WhatsApp anymore in the car because I put the WhatsApp Face ID thing on my WhatsApp app.
Yep.
So that doesn't now pop up in CarPlay, and no other messaging apps at all. So
No.
there's no distraction. And if the phone rings, again, it's there. I can choose whether or not to answer it. I'm not distracted. So I think that's absolute rubbish. And it's the same with fiddling with the radio. If you're driving along, touching it, or it's the same level of distraction.
It is. I mean, look, if I want to use something on my phone that isn't done by CarPlay, I pull over and use it because my phone is now in the center console. I can't really get to it easily. It's not distraction that way. So yeah. I mean, I read an article the other day, or saw a thing the other day, basically saying that someone can now retrofit CarPlay to your GM cars.
Yeah, I saw that with the screen, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're using all the same hardware. It just needs to go to the shop, they need to fit something under the hood or whatever behind the entertainment system. Now you've got full CarPlay, wired and wireless, and Android Auto.
Yeah, that was quite funny. That was very much.
It'll fly off the shelves.
You've not listened to your consumers at all, was it?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder how many customers they've lost to that. Because I mean, I wouldn't buy a new car without CarPlay.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And I see, even though these are mock-ups of the Audi one, I mean, I'd love that. Given how good, the UI is for Apple products, I mean, it's going to look awesome on there.
It is. And you don't have to give the entire car over this next-gen CarPlay. Apple made it very clear that you can, as a manufacturer, you can choose which bits do and don't.
Exactly. If you want to go all in, go all in. And also, you're still going to have to be able to keep some of your design ethos on that. But yeah, I just think it would be great. I mean, obviously, I drive BMW, same as you, and the BMW virtual dashboard isn't terrible, is it? No. And actually, saying that the Audi virtual dashboards are not bad at all with the maps on it.
Oh, exactly.
But if you could then integrate that and allow it to overlay instead of with the built-in app, if I could overlay that with Waze or I could overlay that with Apple Maps, whatever. Then yeah, I think that'd be awesome. And you and I both have said that the Apple Maps integration with the BMW works quite well. You've got the heads-up display,
yep.
So you get the pointers. I just get the speed information, not the map. But yeah, look, I would love to see this, and it'd be great if there was a way to have it retrofitted back in. But I don't think that'd be possible.
No, that's not happening.
Not possible. But yeah, it's awesome. Go for it. GM, take note.
Nope, they're doing their own thing.
They are indeed. Well, that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today then. We'll be back next week with episode 192, which is our first episode in December. And as we count down towards our last few episodes of 2024, as we draw closer to the end of this year. I can't believe it. But we'll be back next week. We'll have a little bit more information on some of the games we're playing. I know we said we're going to talk about that, but we've given it a week or so break because things aren't quite as smooth as we'd liked in Flight Sim, are they? They're not really quite working. And the updates to Grey Zone Warfare have only dropped this week, so we haven't had a chance to fully explore the latest updates in the night, the new night mode as well.
Too busy organising our lockers.
Too much kit, my friends. Too much kit. Right then, like I said, we'll be back next week. Of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Please tell your friends, and you can find us on YouTube as well. And of course, we're still on X, Twitter, whatever we call it this week. Still thinking about making the jump to Blue Sky for the show. I think I might do that. This week. We'll go there. Right then, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Have a good day, all.